And welcome back to Who Would Win. Today's Who Would Win comes to us from Needless Kane, who asked the question, who would win in a fight, Skeletor or Mumm from Thundercats? Sorry, I'm just fixing that. There we go. From Thundercats. But basically, when you go through the death battle history, they've done He-Man versus Lion-O. The question is now, which of their respected main villains would win in this version? So Mumm is a very ancient. I think he's the same race as the others of Thundercats. Either way, he is an ancient being who wants the Eye of Thundera, and then later on wants to destroy the Thundercats. And he does this through magical means almost all the time. His magic is described as pretty much being limitless. It's just a matter of how much energy and stamina he has at the time. He can do anything from projecting lightning bolts to changing his form to possessing minions. Pretty much anything you can think of magically, he can kind of do. But again, he is limited by his physical capabilities, as he is, generally speaking, a decrepit mummy kind of individual. And then he needs to go and recharge in his sarcophagus. His power is also drawn from his sarcophagus, and I believe it was 4 adjacent pyramids that if you destroyed them, you would weaken his power. Either way, Mumm, at least from the description we have him, can't at least not, and unless he goes up against an individual who can mitigate those circumstances, or not mitigate, sorry, supersede those these limitations. Mumm can't actually die. As long as there's evil in the world, he'll resurrect. He can be defeated, but he can't die. He can transform into, I believe it's Mumm the Ever-Living, and then it's like Mumm the All-Powerful or something like that. Stronger, more powerful forms are the big muscle forms you see him in. He can only stay in those forms for so long and before he's ultimately has to go back and recharge. Skeletor. Now, Skeletor, I know Skeletor actually has a real name. Species Gar, male, alias Keldor. Of affiliations, abilities, so forth and so on. Yeah. Skeletor was once a slightly less evil guy, but then there's an origin story in one of the newer He-Man series about where he actually came from. But yeah, there he is, Keldor. I remember that, the Mike production animated series in 2002, which I actually remember watching. That was the He-Man I actually remember watching, because in the animation, you want to talk about slick animation. That was some good animation for He-Man. Acid eventually splashed on his face, though, and he only has his skull now. But Skeletor is noteworthy as being the most powerful evil in Eternia. He is a master sorcerer in his own right, doing many different things, including creating energy bolts from his staff, energy bolts from himself. He can teleport just by saying, "I'm going back to Snake Mountain." He's also quite a skilled swordsman and is physically capable of at least going toe-to-toe on several occasions with He-Man, who is strong enough to go toe-to-toe with the likes of someone like Superman. So you should note just how strong he really is. And because he's actually done that before. There was a comic where He-Man and Superman fought, at least for that comic run. And because He-Man's strength is magically inclined, not just physical strength, it does put him at a stronger, or as a bigger risk to Superman than someone else. And while Skeletor is not as strong as He-Man, he is at least comparable on some level. Like if He-Man's a 10, Skeletor's probably like a 6 or a 7. So enough that he can go toe-to-toe, but ultimately he knows he can't beat He-Man in a straight-out fight, which is why he usually uses magical means to try to circumvent the situation. He is a skilled swordsman. Obviously, he wields his the Havoc staff, which is that cool skull-headed staff. He can also teleport for vast distances, has telepathic commands over his minions, can open gateways between dimensions, or perform remote viewing. Either way, these guys are both extremely powerful. Who wins in a fight? Well, that's an easy, not easy answer, but an easy scenario to kind of ponder, if you will. Like how they fight. They're both adversaries. They both want conquest and domination. and they both end up running into each other. Maybe for a while they team up. That I could see happening. There we go. That I could see happening, but but after a while they basically butt heads, and instead of them fighting their foes, they fight each other, and that's how the fight breaks down. Mumm-Ra immediately goes into his. Mumm-Ra can tell that he needs to be in his most powerful forms, the ever-living form, which enhances his strength to supernatural levels, ability to fly, as well as fortification of his mystical might, casting spells, throwing energy bolts, and such to battle his foes. He can also alter his physical form into various alter egos. While in the form of Mumm-Ra the Ever-Living, he becomes a conduit for the ancient spirits of evil, such that he can amplify his aforementioned abilities to a near cosmic scale. Strength, undead status despite the passage of time or any injury sustained. Price of power, however, is extremely limited stamina. So, Mumm-Ra might hold off to use that form because he knows he can't necessarily use it for very long. So he might try using some mystical abilities. But Skeletor, at least going base Mumm-Ra to Skeletor, is a very minimum a comparable opponent. So they'll be trading blows. Energy Blast. Mumm-Ra being the undead ultimately can't really be killed, and Skeletor knows this. But knowing vast arcane magic means he can circumvent that and possibly take his soul out of his body or something like that. Mumm-Ra would know this as well, so he immediately has to go into Mumm-Ra the Ever-Living. Now they're actually going on a much more even playing field. Now, the actual physical strength levels of Mumm-Ra the Ever-Living aren't truly known. I never watched... I watched He-Man, the 2002 edition. I didn't watch Thundercats, any of the versions, but I know enough about him to at least give a decent idea of how strong they are. Unfortunately, Mumm-Ra's strength, as supernatural as it might be, I don't know of any indication of how strong he really is. Still, this enhances his magical abilities much farther than what they were at in his base form. And physically, he can now kind of go toe-to-toe. Skeletor, though, is teleporting around, slicing him up a bit. The problem here, it's going to be a battle of cunning. It's a battle of attrition, really, in cunning. Because Skeletor versus base Mumm-Ra, Skeletor is winning that fight. Because he's physically just much more powerful than Mumm-Ra is. He can actually go toe-to-toe in a physical altercation. He's at least comparable in magic in terms of base Mumm-Ra. Mumm-Ra the Ever-Living, when his powers are now on a cosmic scale, or nearly cosmic scale, Skeletor does not have that level of power. If he had a near cosmic level of power, He-Man probably wouldn't be able to beat him ever, because unlike Mumm-Ra, he's not debilitated by any sort of limitation physically, or time length of how long he can use his power. He can just use his power whenever he wants. If he had a cosmic level of power, He-Man's screwed, because He-Man's not a cosmic individual. He's powerful. He's very powerful, but he's not a cosmic level. So once you get into Mumm-Ra the Ever-Living, the power balance very much shifts, and that he has a cosmic level of magical ability, which Skeletor does not have. Skeletor's powerful. He's probably got at least a planetary. Now, that should be said, that Skeletor, while not having a planetary level of, or cosmic level of magical ability, does have access, is privy to universal levels of knowledge. So, by that admission, it's now Skeletor using the vast depths of knowledge he has to his advantage, knowing that all I have to do is outlast this guy. It's not going to last for long, maybe a couple minutes or so. But as long as I can outlast this guy, and he gets hit by a blast. Oh, crap! All right then, Mumm-Ra. Let's see what you've got, yes. And, they go toe-to-toe again. Now, fortunately, because he can trade blows with He-Man, he's got the durability to survive long enough for Mumm-Ra to revert back to a weakened form. But Mumm-Ra is still going to beat the crap out of him when he actually lands hits. And I do think he'll be landing hits quite a bit. And Skeletor, for all his durability, isn't limitless at all. He will, his durability is going to crap out eventually. So the question quickly becomes, who is going to win this fight? Who's going to outlast the other? Is Skeletor going to just outlast Mumm-Ra the Ever-Living, or is Mumm-Ra going to just overwhelm him with power before he runs out of time in that form? And the answer to that question, in my opinion, Mumm-Ra will run out of time. Mumm-Ra is extremely powerful, near cosmic level scale of energy, power, and strength, but Skeletor is, first of all, powerful enough in magic to at least hold him off in that form, and durable enough that even when he can't hold him off, can take a hit and keep going for a bit. Worst case scenario, Skeletor teleports out of there, waits for him to run out of time, then teleports back in. That would be like Skeletor's last ditch effort. Then once Mumm-Ra like reverts back to his normal form, he tries to go back to his coffin or sarcophagus, but Skeletor just blows up the sarcophagus. Mumm-Ra's like, no! He was like, yes, Mumm-Ra. If you want to continue to exist in the state you are, you will serve me. Mumm-Ra serves none. No one but himself. So be it. Mumm-Ra. And then he basically contains or traps Mumm-Ra in some sort of like sphere dump. If you wish to be contained, if you wish to be entombed, so you can regain your power. And he suddenly gets like caught in like this little capture jar, like that's covered in rocks. Looks almost like a sarcophagus, but see-through. Then allow me to aid you in that, and then just kind of seals him. It's like, oh, you'll make a perfect paperweight. Nah, he's just trying to get out of there and he can't. So honestly, I'm gonna go with Skeletor in this fight. And the reason I go with Skeletor is because Skeletor is the physically more stronger and more in the stronger magic user in base form. And while the disparity between their magical abilities is much greater once Mumm-Ra goes to the ever-living form, physical strength is hard to say. The key difference here, though, is he's got very limited time in that form, and Skeletor has shown that he can go toe-to-toe T-Man on several occasions. So he can probably take enough hits to outlast Mumm-Ra. By that point, then, he'll just blow up one of his power sources and then be like, all right, now I've got you, He-Man, and now I've got you, Mumm-Ra. And maybe he'll even use his power, or channel his power into N for extra power. Who knows? But I'm going Skeletor. Who do you think it is? Let me know in the comments below. But until then, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. So thanks for watching. I'm going to pre-record a video for tomorrow. And that's pretty much all I got on the docket today. So later, folks.